Hi, my name is Zima Othman, and I will be presenting to you Belle with Stockholm Syndrome. Once upon a time, there was a smart and beautiful young girl named Belle. She lived in a small town surrounded by a wide diversity of people and personalities. Belle had a father who would travel to the ends of the world to make her happy, and she had a charming lover. She was happy with her life. Her 22nd birthday was coming up. The days before the big day, she went shopping with her friends, and they got her a dress in her favorite color, yellow, for her to wear at the party. It was not going to be a big party, just her friend's boyfriend and father, though he would have to leave early. Fast forward to the day of the party. They were going to meet at the tavern where they would find her father, Maurice, stay there for an hour or so, then sneak out to party in a cabin hidden in the woods. They eventually got everything ready. Flashlights, extra clothes, and most important, the alcohol. The plan was for Laurette and Paulette to help Belle get ready to go to the tavern where they would meet Maurice so they could sing her happy birthday. In the meanwhile, Gaston and Claudette were going to get the cabin ready for their after party. Several hours later, Belle, Laurette, Paulette, and Maurice were all at the tavern. Claudette and Gaston were late, supposedly because they were still setting up the cabin. Sometime later, they showed up and spent the next hour partying. They say goodbye to Maurice and leave, heading straight to the woods. By this time, they're just careless, intoxicated young adults running around in the woods. It starts raining and raining hard. Branches fall off the trees and the group gets separated. Belle starts stumbling around the woods trying to find her way home, dodging flying branches, when suddenly she reaches a fence. Quickly, she walks past the fence and walks towards this castle-like building. Without a second thought, she walks in. She lays down and closes her eyes. She hears footsteps, but it's too dark for her to see. She finds a candlestick and lights it up. Suddenly, she gets knocked out. When she wakes up again, she's still very intoxicated. She notices she's in a cell. Her head hurts, and then she hears the same footsteps again. This time, she's able to see who it is because they're carrying a torch. Belle lets out a gasp when she realizes the thing carrying the torch isn't exactly human. He opens the jail cell and slowly approaches her. "Are you cold?" he asks. Belle has to think about it for a second. She hadn't even realized how cold the stone bed she was laying on was. She nodded her head. He reached his paw out to touch her face. He was so warm and she was so cold. Belle leaned towards his touch until he removed his paw. "Let's get you out of here." He picks her up and takes her to a large and furnished bedroom. He places her on the bed, he tucks her in, and lights up the fireplace to keep her warm. She mumbled a small thank you. "I'll see you in the morning," he said. At that point, she had already been asleep. He walks out of the room. The next morning, Belle wakes up with a headache. She looks around at her unfamiliar surroundings. On the nightstand next to her, by a small cup of water and a small pill, which she assumed to be a painkiller. She then finds a note next to the cup, and it read, "Meet me downstairs when you wake up. Signed, B." Slowly, she gulps the pill of water and heads downstairs. Luckily, the bedroom she had been staying in had a staircase next to it that led directly to the kitchen. There she hears the familiar footsteps she faintly recalls from the night before. "Ah, you're awake. Join me," he says. His form slightly scares her, but that fear was enough to motivate her to sit down. He asks her how she is feeling, and she told him her head still hurts, but since she had taken the painkillers that was left next to her bed, she would be fine again soon. Belle could have sworn she saw him smirk, but it quickly turned into a sympathetic smile. After a few moments of silence, Belle gets the courage to ask, "Where are we?" The beast gasps, "Do you not remember anything about last night?" Belle looked confused. "Whatever do you mean?" she asks. He responded, "You asked me the same question last night before you went to bed. We talked for hours last night." Belle looked shocked. She had no recollection of this. She did not want to seem rude, but she quickly recovered. Oh, my bad. I do not seem to recall much, to be honest. He responded, It's okay. Don't worry about it. Belle looked as if she was going to ask him another question. Beast raised his eyebrows, and she shook it off and continued to eat her food. Belle was going to ask him why he looked as he did, but since he seemed so offended at her asking where she was, she decided against it. Minutes later, Beast stood up and said, Come with me. He takes her to the library. I have some work to attend to for a bit, he said, but I will be back soon. Feel free to roam around as you wish. He started to walk away, but Belle grabbed his paw. Wait, what is it? He said. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, but I really need to get back home. A look of sadness streamed across his face. You really don't remember anything from last night, do you? Another look of confusion struck her face, but before she could say anything, Beast sat her down at the couch. There was more than just you being drunk keeping you here, Belle. Last night, I used my magic mirror to help you find your friends. You specifically asked me to find Gaston. When the mirror did its job, it showed Gaston with Claudette. He paused, hoping that she would remember. Belle laughed it off. Oh, that's because they're just friends. He cut her off. No, Belle, it's more than just that. They were having an affair. You saw the proof with your own eyes. Belle started sobbing, clinging to Beast for comfort. They stayed like this for several minutes. I have no one to go back to. Papa's leaving town today. You could stay with me, he said. They don't deserve you out there. We'd be much better on our own. Several days went by. Belle had agreed to stay with Beast. A part of the reason she agreed was because she couldn't face her lover and the friend that betrayed her. But a big part of the reason was because how could she leave someone who was just so much more than kind to her than anyone she had ever met? He didn't let her leave the castle because he cared for her. He saved her from the people she used to surround herself with. She remembers him telling her, They used you. No one appreciated your beauty out there. I give you a life of peace where no one will ever come to you. And he knows me so well, she thought. He even knew yellow was her favorite color and had someone make her a grand yellow ball gown. And he knew red roses were her favorite, and when they were walking one day, he picked a rose for her, and he even enchanted it so it would be an everlasting reminder of their bond. It makes it even more special when she realized that he knows her so well just by heart because she had never told him any of this. And the longest conversation they had had was the night they first met, and she still didn't remember it, but she just knows it was special. She also still never asked him how he is the way he is because he has given her so much that to her it doesn't even matter. She doesn't care that she knows nothing of him, and he knows everything about her. It's just the bond that they share. Months go by. Belle treasures every moment she gets to encounter with Beast, though there are not many. Beast keeps giving Belle things to be grateful for, like he gave her a room with windows and a balcony. One day, she's walking around the castle hoping to run into Beast when she hears grunting sounds. She walks closer to it and she recognized the hallway of the cell she had been kept in the first night she came. Then she heard footsteps. She sees Beast's shadow and he yells at her, What do you think you're doing here? She whimpers and murmurs apologies. I only wished to see where you were. Go up to your room. She runs up, and later that night, after staying in her room all day, she heard a knock on her door, and she opens it and it's one of the servants. He wishes to meet you where you saw each other earlier. She rushes downstairs where it was, and she sees him standing there. Belle, do you wish to know what I have been doing today? Belle nods her head yes. Follow me. She follows him into the cell where she sees someone she hadn't seen in a long time, her father. Belle, your father has come back. He wants to take you away from me. You get to make the choice. You can stay with me or you can go back with your papa. Just imagine how much time we could spend together, the rest of our lives. Belle was at a stopping point. She hadn't seen her papa in ages, but he wants to take her away. Maurice starts mumbling, yelling, trying to get Belle's attention, but the rag stuffed in his mouth proved to be effective in capturing his words. Belle whispered, I. She looks at her papa, the man who raised her. Belle. She looked Beast in the eyes and said the words that, and as he said the words that captured her heart. They don't deserve you out there. And she was reminded of everything he did for her. She owed him everything, and all he wanted was her. How could she not give herself to him? She loved him. I want to stay with you. And just like that, the beauty belonged to the beast. Thank you for watching.